These sure are interesting times. Several tectonic shifts are taking place in multiple areas of our lives and societies. Wealth is shifting west to east, north to south, and between generations. The mobility of doing business is putting conventional earning models upside down, and strained public finances of the West are causing major alignments of fiscal as well as monetary policies. Dealing with each of these changes on an individual basis would be a tremendous challenge, and now they're happening all at the same time. Several models of old will no longer work in the future, or they will be outdated. Among them, the concept of offshore jurisdictions. Providing one or two size-fits-all solutions far away from target markets, tucked away between palm trees or mountains, no longer works. Solutions will increasingly have to be developed in partnership with target market participants, including their public authorities. The international financial centers of the future will be inclusive rather than exclusive, solid rather than elusive, and transparent rather than opaque. They will combine offshore efficiency with onshore solidness, and at the same time, for them to be successful in a very competitive line of financial centers, they will need to be bold and have vision in striking a balance between transparency and protection of assets, between attracting the brightest and best connected minds, and be at the avant-garde of technology and infrastructure at all times. To ensure continuity, they will need to have a strong public-private partnership for flexible and fast legislative adjustments. And last but not least, in order for the world to know about them, they will need to make sure their products, people, and commitments are properly promoted. In short, they will be mid-shore. And this is what this conference is about, communicating the new mid-shore reality to the world. Open merchant societies have historically been rewarded with prosperity and stability, which are two key elements to attract entrepreneurial spirits. In his groundbreaking work, The Wealth of Nations, first published in 1776, Adam Smith said specifically of Curaçao that this is a free port open to ships of all nations, and this freedom has been the great cause of its prosperity. This held true then, and it still holds true today. He said it in a time that has many parallels to ours, a time full of turmoil, exchanging old models for new, and a time after which the world looked decisively different than before. Within 20 years, there was a French and an American Revolution. Today, however, change does not take 20 years anymore. It is my firm belief that only those financial centers that embrace continuous change and with a desire to be open and fiercely competitive will be successful. Our clients are all over the world, and so is our competition. Curaçao has an infrastructure with deep historic roots, a well-trained and multilingual population, state-of-the-art supervision by the Central Bank of Curaçao and Sint Maarten, an institution, by the way, that has twice the number of years of the Fed, a solid and attractive tax system, and last but not least, we are part of one of the most stable and respected kingdoms of the world. Put together, ladies and gentlemen, with a captive market like Latin America that has more than 300 million people, and a link to the European market with more than 400 million, we're looking at a sector that has all the potential to boom tremendously over the next few years. And the rewards will be plenty. A quick glance at our competitors shows what being a successful financial center means. Little or no unemployment, high foreign exchange reserves, high GDP per capita, a high level of education, and a high standard of living. A mature service offering means to be ready for the future. A future that requires more economic substance with added value to the business of our clients. That will improve both quantity and quality of economic spin-off.
We are one of the countries that believe compliance is crucial. Our country is committed to complying with international rules, regulations, and standards that are yet to come, including those of the OECD and the FATF. This international conference enables those interested in international financial centers to benefit from in-depth analysis of the global developments that shape the future of our sector. As part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and being linked to the European Union, Curaçao enjoys a very stable political and legal infrastructure and benefits from a strong discipline in adoption and adherence to constantly updated regulations. The well-diversified local economy, however, is not dependent only on its financial sector. It benefits from the international financial sector as an addition to several other traditional and well-developed sectors, such as oil refining, tourism, trade and port services. This means that our country can meet the requirements for a compliant, transparent, and substance-driven jurisdiction. And it can do so not because that this is commercially interesting, but because it is in its DNA. It is important to stress that our country's long fruitful experience as an international financial center is the result of a strong public-private partnership that will continue to be built upon the future. In the increasingly complex global environment of regulation and information exchange, only intensive and open communication between stakeholders generates solutions. These solutions can meet the global demands and at the same time are interesting to private and corporate investors. Building upon our traditional sectors, such as refining, financial services, tourism, trade, and port services, we are constantly looking for new opportunities for industry development. Good examples are the focus of renewable energy supply and development, wind and solar, locally and for the region. The development of innovative projects for local production of fruits and vegetables, and the emergence of eco and medical tourism. These sectors, in combination with the traditional sectors, will allow us to diversify our economy further. It will also allow us to create the type of well-renowned national economy that provides the economic strength and substance that is required to serve as the basis for growth of the international financial sector. This conference is a great example of how our government works together with the private sector in order to create new strategies and a new and valuable approach.
So Curaçao has, as I said, a lot of tax sharing, which is very important also. The Netherlands is also giving technical support for that and is also compliant to international standards. So, concluding, what is important? Curaçao, to my complete confidence, is a very strong jurisdiction which has a lot of benefits. It benefits, of course, from a wonderful climate. It benefits, as already the Dutch discovered in the 17th century, of a very strategic position. And it's very important also to know that the position within the Kingdom of the Netherlands allows Curaçao for a very strong legal system, a defense system, access to an educational system of higher education in Europe, and actually not only in Europe, in the Netherlands, but in the whole European Union, because students are there allowed to study in the whole of the European Union. And the diplomatic posts, so access to 150 countries with a diplomatic presence. And I'm confident that when Curaçao has the right policies in place, the right instruments in place, and will implement those, that it will be a cooperative, with a very strong legal system jurisdiction that can establish itself with midshore, with substance also, and be very attractive for companies with some kind of substance. And that could easily generate, I'm also here, the Prime Minister and the Finance Ministers are here, for example, and other government officials. It could easily generate north of 3.5% economic growth for a sustainable period of many years. Whereas, as we know, the last 2 decades, we have seen a lot of stagnation in economic growth in Curaçao. So if you do that, because there's a lot of jurisdiction out there on the offshore side that are not doing that and are still on the other side, if you really attract real business with substance, very interestingly, if you have the right instruments in place, without as much as possible discriminatory regimes, but you can have just a very simple flat system, for example, with zero corporate tax. We, even as the Netherlands, which we have a lot of more compliance and governance, we introduced such a system very close by here on Bonaire. If you would have a system in place with less administrative burden, with a reform on the tax policies, I'm sure that you are very well positioned to be in a period of the next 2 decades of prosperous growth.
It is important to mention and praise the active involvement of our government in stimulating and promoting our financial sector in the region as well as internationally. But in order to reach these goals, it will require significant investments. These investments are part of the successful effort to upgrade our country economically. Investments to which both the government and private sector are fully committed. Help is needed, however, if we want to maintain the high level of service, quality, and innovation. Together with the private sector, enormous effort is being put in convincing international investors to make Curaçao their destination of choice when doing business. The government of Curaçao has realized that high net worth investors provide a real economic benefit to Curaçao, and that the mentioned economic benefit will be deemed to exist in case the investment provides increased employment opportunities, increases the inflow of foreign currency, or stimulates the economic development of Curaçao. In connection therewith, the Minister of Justice has promulgated new guidelines to encourage high net worth investors to Curaçao as part of the new investors permit introduced in 2014. At CINEX, we believe this permit will serve as a great incentive for investors to follow their assets and investments to Curaçao. Our commitment to excel has been noticeable both on the island as well as on the international stage, where Curaçao has played center stage in many areas. During the past years, for example, we have been the major supplier per capita of players to the Major League Baseball. Curaçao has also developed itself into a cosmopolitan destination with world-class events like the Curaçao North Sea Jazz Festival, which will celebrate its 6th edition in September this year, but also the Curaçao International Film Festival Rotterdam and the 1st edition of the Curaçao International Blues Festival in April this year, that have all become a meeting place for music fans and filmmakers and producers from the Caribbean and Latin America. In conclusion, Curaçao is moving forward. Our financial sector has everything in place to strengthen our current position in the region and beyond, such as a talent pool of ambitious and experienced professionals who are eager to compete with their peers in other parts of the world, a strong and reliable regulatory framework, total compliance with international legal standards, and our unique position of being the first mid-shore jurisdiction in the Caribbean. We operate in a highly competitive international environment that is constantly changing. To this extent, our focus will be key towards the future and continued success of Curaçao as a preferred IFS and as a new investor shore. To maintain this edge, we will have to stick to what we do best and perform to the best of our abilities. It's not so important to be the best at everything we do, but at CINEX, we are committed to providing clients and investors with the best possible solution and offering them the best experience when doing business on or through Curaçao. In giving it our best, we will need to have a clear vision about products and services that can really make a difference to our clients and investors, and in which we can distinguish ourselves as a jurisdiction. Focusing on providing solutions for high net worth clients from a mid-shore perspective is a perfect example of this approach. We all know that the last couple of decades have not been easy, and our jurisdiction may have lost some ground in certain areas. However, slowly but steadily, we have fought our way back into the arena of international financial services. Curaçao is back, this time as a mid-shore jurisdiction, and CINEX is ready to be of service to you.
Mijn naam is Ramon Koffieberg, interim directeur die CINEX. Mita na STEP Conference di CIFA e CIFC. Estamos chegando à parte final da conferência hoje. Então, a conferência não somente é importante para Curaçao, mas é muito exitoso. Então, tem mais que 3 gente que a visitar a conferência nos últimos 2 dias. O keynote speaker estava muito importante no mundo financeiro, no mundo que caminha nós como offshore agora que trabalha launch e mature filosofia. Então, é muito importante para o setor que cresce back caminha e para nós vai adiante no setor. Nós como CINEX estamos dos main sponsors aqui, nós naturalmente representamos uiteindelijk todo o sector, mas esse aqui é dos sectores muito importante, não ajuda todo outro setor para crescer no próximo ano. Sumamente importante para o desenvolvimento econômico de Curaçao e para o emprego de Curaçao.
Meu nome é Danushka Kova, sou chairman de CIFA, Curaçao International Financial Services Association, e nós aqui está organizando o host iniciativa de CIFA e conferência de STEP International Curaçao. Nós estamos muito contentes com a participação de toda a companhia na local, com o apoio, na Amanda, na delegado, na Binha aqui para o line-up de speakers internacional que nós temos. Obviamente, o Mr. De Jager deu uma apresentação mais boa, o Mr. Ferguson, o Mr. Cohen e todos os oradores na local também. Nós estamos especialmente agradecidos para CINEX, CIFC, para AFG, Câmara van Koophandel, CTB, tudo gente que ajuda nós a fazer o que é possível e a trobe é exemplo que ora Curaçao decidiu que não está um coisa da União e se também um êxito rotundo para nós por que me está muito contente que tem mais ou menos 3 gente, e são 25% internacional, também bem gente já foi especial para topa que speakers para fora da conferência, que me tudo que muito para o medir quanto precisa internacional, para sala está bem, a acolhida está muito bom e nós estamos sumamente orgulhosos que nós tour por acessar aqui junto um dia mais.
Bueno, é a conferência que está muito importante, muito interessante também. E de valor sumamente grande para Curaçao. O setor financeiro aqui é setor que no momento que acaba está importante, mas tem muito espaço ainda para seguir crescer, que o potencial está muito grande. E me espero que o bine mais de sorte de conferência assim aqui, caminho para experto mundialmente, que conhece a matéria, que também compartilha conosco. A mim é professor de Harvard University. Ferguson, esse é quase muito impressionante para mim, porque é historiador com conhecimento de matéria e explica vários desenvolvimentos que estava no mundo e para que é parte de offshore, agora que vai midshore, e é parte de confiança, é parte do mundo que está regular para evitar que botar assim mal uso de fundo de uma maneira criminal. Que me conferência aqui para mim seguro que está gente técnico está de sumamente importância e me escolhe para aqueles 2 dias aqui completo para de forma aí me informar me mesmo bom na modo que hora que me está discutir me está conversar me pode trazer aporte baseado em informação concreta.
Meu nome é Luís Santini, voorzitter de Raad van Commissarissen de CINEX. Eu quero que é mais importante que nós, como CINEX, sponsor evento aqui e que o setor financeiro de Curaçao atrás evento aqui em Curaçao, porque é pilar mais forte da nossa economia e é bom momento para Curaçao apresentar sua mensagem aqui no mundo internacional, como é mature do Caribe. E pensei que quero ver quanto participantes nós estamos tanto internacional como local, nosso papel de evento muito exitoso.